So today we're going to discuss your normal distribution. This is module 5. So for the normal distribution, these are the following objectives: construction of normal curves, conversion of normal variables to standard normal variables, and vice versa, computing probabilities at percentiles using the standard normal table. So at the end of this session, you must be able to construct a normal curve, illustrate a normal random variable and its characteristics, identify regions under the normal curve corresponding to different standard normal values, converted a normal random variable to a standard normal variable and vice versa, and computed probabilities and percentiles using the standard normal table. Okay, so the rest of this discussion actually class involves your how to compute for the standard normal distribution and the normal distribution. So this is the standard normal distribution. And also how to compute for your normal distribution. Okay, so for it to be normally distributed, it should be bell-shaped, symmetric around the mean, median, and mode are equal. The normal distributions are denser in the center and less dense in the tails, and the area under the normal curve is equal to 100%. So that's for your normal distribution. Then you have this one, this is the mean, then mean plus the standard deviation, mean plus twice the standard deviation, mean plus thrice the standard deviation, mean minus the standard deviation, mean minus twice the standard deviation, and mean minus 3 times the standard deviation. Okay, so this is how you know that your data set is normally distributed, if you can form a bell curve using these values. Okay, so we'll be using this one as your x-axis and then the frequency as your y-axis later. Okay, I will show you how to create a normally distributed table using your Excel. So I will not discuss this already as this should be discussed in your lecture class. So you just read this one again to compute for the values. I will explain later the values kung paano na siya gina-compute and how to use your normal standard z table of values. Okay, so you're going to use your z table of values as you use the formula z is equal to your x minus the mean all over the standard deviation to solve for the area under the curve, where x is any values within the range of your set of values. So this is the normal distribution table. I'll teach you how to use this one. And the important thing here, class, is how to find probabilities using the normal table. Okay, and then you have also here the normal distribution link. You're going to use this one, class, to solve for the normal, if your table or if your data set is normally distributed, or you assume that your data set is already normally distributed, so you're just using this calculator to solve for the probabilities of the data set. I'll just show you that one later. So on siya sa the normal distribution table because we're going to use that one. Okay. So now let's proceed to your example. So using our previous examples also for the data. Okay, so this is our company name, exchange, and exchange being used, our market capital in millions, then your price earning ratio and your gross profit margin. Okay, so this was the example previously. So we copied the mean from example 2. Okay, so you're going to use this mean 8.5 for the second example. This mean 838.892 for the first example. So for the second example, 8.5. And then also copy the standard deviation. So the standard deviation class is 2 for the second example. And it's 18.569 for the first example. Okay, so 18.569. So are you going to use both for to show you how to create a normal distribution table. Okay, so first class is you have to create using Excel. Okay, so first class you have to identify the mean. Okay, Okay, so the mean is 38.892. Then, di ba, we stated earlier that ang imong nga range is pagka to sa left, that will be to the left, it's minus your standard deviation. Then pagka to the right, that's plus your standard deviation. So you simply do this. Then this one. Okay. So it's na negative na siya class, so meaning in statistics you have no data that are less than 0. So you can actually ignore this one later. Pero pagka sa baba, pagka sa right, this is now okay. So guys, if you notice, I'm just adding standard deviation right after the data set because thrice, so meaning same lang man sila class, di ba? After all, multiplication is just a repeated addition. Okay? So this is now your range class. Okay? So this is now our range. So we use that one. So the first, we can just ignore this one class. So we start with this one. Okay? So the first range would be from 0 to this one. 1.75, then 1.75 to 20.32, 323, then 20.323 to 38.892. If you want to round off this one class, then that's also fine. It's your table, so it's your choice. You'll be the one to explain it to your readers. Then for ako niya, for demonstration purposes, 47 point so exact. Okay. So this is now our range, starting with, or this is now your distribution. Okay, then you're going to solve, of course, for the frequency. So as always, since we used the GPM last time, you can always use class naman the pivot table para hindi na kang mag-count. Dasig lang ni. Okay. Then, of course, the GPM. Then, of course, we use your count. Use the count. So, you change this one to count. Okay. Then, using that one, so 1.75 class, 0 to 1.75, wala. So, this is 0. Then, you have 1.75 to 20.323. Okay? So, 1.75 to 20. So, basta D. So, you group this one. Then, ang next class is 20 to 38. 20 to 38. Okay, so you also group this one. Then 38 to 57. 38 to 57. Then you have 57 to 76. Okay? So, tira lang siya asta. And then the rest is wala. So, 25 kabilog. So, 25 kabilog. So, this is now 4, 11, 5, 5, and 0. So, this is now your data set. So, to see if your data is normally distributed, simply copy this one class so that you can create both a histogram and a ano ganito tawag niya? Frequency polygon. Okay? So, insert. Then you use your recommended charts. You use a combination. Then, clustered column. And then, you can simply use this one. And then, for this one, you can choose. Anyway, kaya na lang. This is okay. Tapos, i-edit na lang nila yun. Okay, parang gap width niya is 0. And ang overlap niya is 0 man. And, okay. So, this is now your frequency distribution table. And as you can see, class, okay, diba? As you can see, it actually looks almost normally distributed. Okay, since there are only 25 data set, at least you can say that it's actually normally distributed. So, meaning if mag-increase lang ni gamay ang 38 to 57 the range, then actually that's okay. Okay. So, you can actually assume that this data set is normally distributed. Okay. So, for the second example, so, masapos ni siya because it's 8.5 to 2. So, you simply start with 8.5, then minus 2, so 6.5, then 4.5, then 2.5. Then, pakadto sa right, 10.5, 12.5, and 14.5. Okay? As always, kung hindi nyo gusto mag-count class, you can create the pivot table for this one. So, insert pivot table, existing worksheet. Okay. And as always, battery life, then ang iyang value. So, count. So, you change the value field setting to count. Okay. Then, using a range na gina-indicate sa babaw. So, the first one is 2.5 to 4.5. So, this one. Then, 4.5 to 6.5. Wala. In 6.5 to 8.5. We have this one. So, group this one. Then, 8.5 to 10.5. Okay, then of course you have your 10.5 to 11.5. So 1441. So let's do this. So this is now 2.5 to 4.5. You have 1. Then 4.5 to 6.5. You have 0. 6.5 to 8.5. 8.5 to 10.5, 4, 10.5 to 12.5, 1. Ang next na in class is 0 naman na, so you can just ignore that one. And since 10 man lang ato data set, then 10 naman ni siyang total, so you can just ignore that one. And again, you copy this one, the frequency. You can use this one for your distribution table. Again, insert, recommended charts, all charts, combo. Then, ang Ang sa line class is simuon nilang curve siya. Then, okay. Then, ipatambok ko na lang ni gap width 0. Pati ang kuan man 0. Okay. Okay. So, this one is also looks normally distributed, except nga may ara di sang gap. Okay. This is a frequency distribution table class. So, okay, there is a gap. And if you want to use this one like 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, then that's also fine. Okay, kung nyo gusto magamit sang XY axis nga naka-range daan. Okay, so that's also possible. Okay, now let's go to so this is how you create check if your data is normally distributed or not, or create a normally distributed table using your Excel. Okay, and now to solve for the values under the curve, use your online calculator. So this is the online calculator class. Okay. So for the first one, you can actually solve for 3 types. Ang greater than x. So greater than x meaning pakadto na siya sa right sa imong curve. Less than x, pakadto na siya sa left. Pakadto siya sa left mag-read. And of course your in between. So from say B, okay. From let's say 2 to 8.5. Okay, so that's possible. So let's use your data set. So for the first example, for the second example, the mean is 8.5, a calculated mean na siya class. Then the standard deviation is 2. So find one of the following probabilities. Okay. So first, let's have your less than. The normal distribution table class always reads the less than. This is half na z table. Let's have a z table nga full. Ginagamit ko man Perni. Anyway, so let's start with this. So you can just pick any value here, class. Ngari sa imo nga battery life, di ba? So let's say be 11. Then 11, so input mo lang di class 11, i-click compute. The normal distributor will show you this one. So the probability that x less than 11 class is 0.8944. Okay, so this is the curve, diba? To the left. Then this is the steps. So x is less than 11 is x minus mean, x2 mean minus 11 minus 8.5, or x minus mu is equal to 11 minus 8.5. So probability of x minus mu over standard deviation, diba? Kagina sa formula that was shown. So 11 minus 8.5 divided by 2 is equal to 1.25. So the probability of z class is 1.25. Okay, so 1.25. So we use your z table of values class and look for 1.25. So for 1.25, this is 1.2. Then ikalantawon nyo din ang ika-fifth nga value. Okay, so this is 1.25, so it's 0.8944. Okay, this area here. Okay, so that's your z table of values. The next, 11, so ika 8.5 at the mean class. You can also solve for 8. Okay, so for 8, sa normally distributed table is input mo lang di 8. Then you compute. So for the computation, the probability that your x is less than 8 is 0.413. So that's 40.13%. Okay, so as you can see, class, since the mean is 50%, the mean is equal to 50%, so less than siya sa 50%. Then you have your computation here. So x minus mean all over standard deviation. So 8 minus 8.5 divided by 2 is equal to negative 0.25. Okay? So kay negative 0.25 na siya class. Ang tawag na ni siya nga table at negative 0.2. Negative 0.2. Then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 0.4013. Okay, check to. So, or this is 40.13% as shown by this computation. Okay? And next, we have greater than. So, for greater than, let's use 7 and 9. Okay? So, for greater than, click nyo lang ni class, greater than. By the way, so that's greater than 7. So, you compute. Okay? So, greater than 7 kung class is 0.7734 or that's 77.34%. As you can see, diba, greater than gid man siya, more than 50% gid man siya class, galing to the right since you are using greater than. Okay? Then, for the computation, that's 7 minus 8.5 divided by 2, pero greater ni siya. So, that's negative 0.75. Okay? A negative 0.75 class, negative 0.75 is actually 2266. And it's actually this one, 2266, 0.2266. So, you simply subtract that one from 1 to get your 0.7734. Okay? So, 1 minus the value of negative 0.75, which is 0.2266. So, 1 minus 0.2266, so that's equal to 0.7734. Okay? Kay to the right ni siya class. And the z table is always read to the left. Okay, to the left. Pag-read. Okay? Next, let's have another one. Let's have greater than 9. So, for greater than 9 class, it's 0.4013. 0.4013. Okay? So, again, that's 9 minus 8.5 divided by 2. So, that's 0.25. So, looking at your z table of values, ang 0.25 class is actually 0.5987. 0.5987. Galing, ang value nga ni is ang sa left. So, to get the value to the right, you simply subtract 0.5987 from 1. So, 1 minus 0.5987 class is 0.4013, or the probability that your value is greater than 9 or the battery life is greater than 9 is greater than is 40.13%. Okay, muna siya na yung pagbasa. Okay. Then lastly, let's have in between. So, let's have 4 to 10. So, this is from 4 to 10. Compute. So, from 4 to 10 ko na class, that's 0.7612 or 76.12%. So, since you are solving for 2 areas, so 2 areas man ang inyong maging mark sa curve. So, ang first is 4.80 minus 8.5 divided by 2 and 10 minus 8.5 divided by 2. Kaya gina-solve na isang area between them. This is your x minus mean all over sigma standard deviation. So, for the first one, that's negative 2.25. 4 minus 8.5 divided by 2 is negative 2.25. And 10 minus 8.5 divided by 2 class is 0.75. Okay? So, ang value nga napangita nyo is from negative 2.25 to 0.75. So, paunta na yung 0.75. 0.75 class is 7734. So, that's 0.7734. Then, ang next is ang negative 2.25. Negative 2.25 is 0.0122. So, i-minus mo lang na siya. Okay? So, 7734 minus 0.122. So, that's 2, 1, 6. So, 7612. 7612 or 76.12%. And we say that the probability that the battery life is between 4 hours to 10 hours is 76.12%. Siya pagbasa. The next, for the last example, you can have 10 to 11. So that's 10 to 11. Compute. Okay. So for 10 to 11 class, ang graph is ang diri lang. Diba? And the value ko no is 0.121. Okay. So to solve, so again, 10 minus 8.5 divided by 2 is 0.75. 11 minus 8.5 divided by 2 is 1.25. Okay, so let's have 1.25. So 1.25 class is 0.8944. And 0.75 diba is 0.7734. So minus, so 0, then this is 1, and 2, and 1. So 0.1210 or 0.121 or that's 12.10%. The probability that the battery life is from 10 hours to 11 hours is 12.10%. So that's for example 2. And for example 1 class, same in Japan because you can assume that the data is normally distributed. So you can just select any value here. Okay, so let's say be 4.1 to 9, let's sa mga dagko ko ba. So 35.9 to 36.7. So you can use that one. Of course, dapat i-change yung one class ang mean. So ang mean niya ni is 38.892. So 38.892. Then ang standard deviation is 18.569. 57. Let's have 89. But walang ka-values. Okay. Then to compute, let's say 30.8 to 44.8. Okay. So 30.8 to 44.8 class ko no is 0.2955, sorry. Then we say that the probability that the gross profit margin, the gross profit margin is between 30.8 to 44.8 is 29.55%. Okay? The probability that gross profit margin is from 30.8% to 44.8% is 29.55%. Of course, ang computation sa class is shown here. Diba? So, negative 0.44 kag 0.32. So, for negative 0.44, this one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, 0.3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0.33, 0.44, and 0.32 is 6255. So, i-minus mo lang muna. Okay? So, 2955. Okay? Then, for greater than, then you can have be 52.1. So that's greater than the mean. So, ang iyang graph na dapat class is greater than the mean. Okay? So, the probability that the gross profit margin is greater than 52.1% is 23.89%. Okay? And this is your graph. And this is the computation. Okay? So, since ang value niya ni class is 0.71, so, pangitaon mo man 0.71, so that's 0.7611 or 7611. So, 1 minus 0.7611. Kay para to the right siya. Okay? Then, lastly, let's have 59.3. Okay? So, 59.3 is still greater than, but let's have less than. Compute. So, sa greater than the mean na siya class, meaning ang inyong mga graph man is also greater than the mean. We say that the probability that the gross profit margin is is less than 59.3% is 0.8643% or 86.43%. Okay, so this is the computation. So that's 1.1. So ang tawag mo sa Z table values, 1.1 class is 86.43 gidman. Okay? So, kay 8643 na siya, hindi mo na siya kailangan i-minus kasi this is already to the left. So, less than. Okay? So, I hope you learned something. And just send me a message if you have any questions or other comments.